don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. And this one's gone 34.9. Well, how about that for a ghost carp? And that's the third 30 off the session. I've been doing a lot of running about today after finishing up on Stanley Lagoon, but I'm now back on the Syndicate. Managed to find a few fish, got the rods out just before dark and we're off the mark. Well, this one's just gone 18.5. Right, gonna get a couple of photos and get it slipped straight back. It's a couple of hours on since I last put that fish back, and I actually lost one just before this. And I did redo the rod, a few spots over the top and it went straight away. And I'm getting a few liners, so there's definitely fish on me at the minute. Good morning, so I'm back on the Syndicate and I've decided to start on Unity. Now I did have a look around Gaunts when I first turned up and I found quite a few fish on there, but I couldn't get in any of the swims that covered the water where I'd seen them. So I did head back to Unity for a little bit of a look and I found a lot of fish up in a swim called the Lawns. And as you've seen, last night was a little bit mental. So we started off with a couple of fish, probably one was around mid-double, the other was upper double. And then, well, after that, this happened. Well, I have no idea what time it is, but I've just had my third fish and this one's gone 34.9. Oh, happy days. Have had a few problems, but I'll go through that in the morning. But for now, I'm going to get a few photos of this one, get myself into bed because I really do need to get some sleep. Oh, thank you. So absolutely buzzing with that to get off to a quick start and then topped off by a 34.9 common. I couldn't have asked for a better start than that. Now I did have a little bit of a nightmare with that common, which there's a whole load of willow fluff and bits of weed and everything that's floating all over the surface, and it proper knitted all three rods together, and having to pick that off the braid was a little bit of a nightmare. And there was that much in front of me that I couldn't get the line sunk through it, so what I'd done, I just rested the rods up against the bivvy until this morning. Now thankfully it all has pushed or blown out of the way and it's not so bad. There's still wee spots of it, but nothing like what it was last night. So first thing this morning, I got all three rods straight back out there, and I reckon I put another dozen spots over the top, because yesterday I did put a good 30 out there, and even now I'm getting liners on the rod, so there's definitely fish out there and they definitely seem to be up for a bit of food. This heat is a little bit too much for me. I've just been sat behind the bivvy in a little bit of shade, but I did put out a couple of cigs and one is just absolutely melted off. No, don't be going that way. Right, we're going under these two. Oh. Right. There's all that fluff I was talking about. These are only small amounts. Last night was a nightmare. Come on, don't want you going down there. Oh, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Come on. Right, well I was hid behind the bivvy out of the sun because it is a little bit too warm for me, and I chucked a couple of cigs out there and one of them absolutely rattled off with this. Mid-20, definitely can't complain. I'm going to get him straight back because he is a bit lively and is a little bit too warm. It's finally cooled down and it's a lot more comfortable just to be sat outside in, because it was a little bit too warm for me earlier on, and the next 2 days is to be even warmer. Now after having that one on the cig earlier on, I did persevere with the cigs. I cast them around but never picked anything else up. It just seems to be one of those days where no matter what you throw at them, they just weren't interested. But like I said, it is starting to cool down, so I've redone all 3 rods for tonight, and I've dropped another handful of spods over the top just to freshen up the area, get more attraction into the swim, and hopefully we'll be able to pick another few fish off just like we did last night. Much quieter night last night, didn't have anything through the dark, but this morning this one's went off. Haven't weighed it, but I reckon he's probably what, 15, 16. He's definitely got a bit of ghosty in him, but I've already redone that rod, just need to get a few spods out over the top. What I might do today, pull the rods in around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I might go have a look on gaunts, but we'll see how things go. Right, fish has been sorted, rods are back out there, and our 3 spods over the top. Now it's definitely been a little bit quieter than what it first was when we dropped in here. I'm definitely not seeing as many, but I think my plan for today will be, I'm definitely going to pull the rods in at some point. I'll probably wait till about lunchtime, head for a shower, grab a few bits from the shop, but whenever I come back here I'm going to have a little wander around Gaunts. Seems to be a few anglers turn up since yesterday morning really, and the closer we get to the weekend the busier it's going to get. So if I want to drop on there, I really need to go down for a look sooner rather than later. Well, how about that for a ghost carp? 31.6 this one went, and I think the ghosties go £15 bigger in here, which is one of the ones I'm after. So we're one step closer. Well, I have made the move to Gaunts, but I'll tell you a little bit more about that in the morning. But I've had one already. Buzzing about this, give me a proper bottle this one. Must have been playing it for a good 10 to 15 minutes. But he's gone 29.11. Right, let's get a couple of photos and get her straight back. Just coming up to 4 o'clock in the morning, and the middle rod's gone with this one at 31.2, and that's the third 30 off the session. So the move to Gaunts has definitely paid off. just having that first coffee of the morning. As you would have seen last night, I had a couple of good ones at 29 and 31. And I also made that move to Gaunts, and I did that move for a couple of reasons. Now the first is because I did want to get on here just because of the amount of big fish that are in Gaunts. But the second wasn't by choice. Because of the hot weather we've been having over the last couple of days, there has been reports of spawning on some of the lakes nearby, and I knew Unity was so shallow. If there was any chance of any of them going, it was going to be that one, and right enough this morning they have started. So whenever I got on here last night, I had to make a decision quickly because there was quite a few people starting to turn up, and there was only 2 swims left on the lake. And I decided to go for Middle Island because I've seen a couple of fish out there, and as you've seen, that move is paid off. Now I put about 10 spods out to begin with, just enough to nick a couple of bites, and a couple of bites is exactly what we got. Now this morning I have redone all 3 rods, put another fresh bit of bait over the top, and I've seen 1 or 2 out there. Now I will be nipping to the fan to top up some bait later on, and when I do come back with that, I will show you exactly what I'm using, what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. This weather is a little bit too warm for me, if I'm honest. It's something stupid like 28 degrees. Now since I redone those rods this morning, nothing happened, but I did have a couple of liners, and since then I have seen a few cruising about just out sort of maybe 2-3 rod lengths off the island. So I have spread 3 sigs out there. Got one at 8.5, one at 7.5 and one at 7 foot, so they're all within sort of 3 foot off the surface. All 3 are on black foam. I think 2 of them's on red Sega liners and one's just all black. And I've put a little bit off the Sticky Sweet on them from DNA because that was what done me that fish over on Unity the other day. Right, well the plan was to sit down and talk about bait, but I've had a little bit of a nightmare this evening, to tell you the truth. So there's a lot of this willow fluff that's drifted back in front of me, and see trying to get the main lines through it. It's an absolute nightmare. I'm just worried about moving the lead. But I managed to get it done and the rods are out there. I've even moved one of the rods. So the left hand rod, I found this spot really short, only at 12 wraps. I'm going to drop one on that for tonight, and the other 2 are going straight back out to where we had those last night. Right, the rods are finally out there, and it definitely took a lot longer than what it should have. Proper done my head in that. It's funny how carp fishing does that too, isn't it? Like, you absolutely love it, but at the same time, the smallest things can just wind you up. Anyway, like I say, they are out there, and I have seen one show over in the island, so that gives me a little bit of confidence going into the night. Now, I can't remember if I said earlier on, but I have moved one of the rods. I found a nice area, quite short, earlier on, so I've dropped one rod on that. I've only dropped somewhere between 7 to 10 spods over the top, and I put a lot more over the area that did the fish last night. Frustratingly, last night was a little bit of a quiet one, but from what I've seen this morning, the fish do seem to be to my left, and I do have the opportunity to drop onto them a little bit later on, which I am going to take. But for now, I'm going to talk about the bait and show you exactly what I'm doing. Now, what I've got in the bait bucket is a 50-50 mix of bug and SLK. Now, what I like to do is I like to crush, chop, and obviously add whole boilie into the bucket, and I'm not adding any pellet or any particle to the mix at all. Now, whenever I do crush the bait up, I don't like to crush it all the way down to a dust, because I do want different shapes and sizes in there. So there's everything from whole baits, crushed baits, quarters, halves and dust in there. Now, next is to add the liquid. So there's 2 different liquids I like to use. So prior to crushing and chopping any of the bait up, I do like to coat both the bug and the SLK in their matching liquid foods and let that soak in for a couple of days. And then the next is, once you've crushed and chopped and prepped everything, is to add the second liquid. Now there's a couple of different liquids you can use. The one I'm playing about with on this session is the Red Shrimp Hydro, but what I have been using previous to that is the Spod syrups. Now there is a couple of reasons why I like to use those liquids in those particular ways. Now of course you're getting all those amino acids and proteins that are packed within those liquids, but if I were to take that liquid food, for example, apply it a little bit of bait and spot it straight out there, in my mind I'm losing a lot of that attraction before it hits the bottom. So by allowing that liquid food to soak into the boilie prior to crushing it and chopping it up, you're ensuring all that goodness gets down to the lake bed. Now when it comes to the Spod syrups, or the Red Shrimp Hydro in this case, they're very dense and heavy, and when you're using things like boilie crumb and chops, they can be quite light. So by using such a dense and heavy liquid, it's dragging all that down to the lake bed that bit quicker, especially when you've got a little bit of a tow on. It makes your baiting up more accurate in my opinion, and it gets you those extra bites. Well, this was definitely a bite out of the blue. Just packed everything up onto the barrow to get ready to move on to the far side once that swim comes through, and the middle rod busted off with this one. It's just a little over 21. Right, barrow's packed, ready for the move. I'm going to be moving sort of this end of the lake a little bit later on this afternoon. Oh, there's a few fish coming past now. That's the first I've seen fish out here since last night, which puts a little bit of a spanner in the works. But I am seeing most of them this end, so I think I'm just going to drop in there for the last couple of days. That's where I've seen them, so that's where I need to go. Right, we've made the move, rods are out and we're fishing again. Now I've dropped into a swim called the Pollet, and what I've decided to do is fish quite short. It is quite busy at this end of the lake, so I thought I'd give myself a little bit of room, give the fish a little bit of room, slacken the lines off, and hopefully by keeping quiet and not putting so much pressure on that sort of middle section I've got in front of me, the fish will sort of drift into my area and we'll be able to nick a few. Now, it's probably getting on for about 7:30, 8 o'clock. The heat's absolutely done me in today. I'm shattered as well, so I'm going to sit down, have something to eat, have an early night, and I'll either see you through the night or first thing in the morning. I have no idea what time it is, but the right hand rod just melted off. This one's going 23.7, so he has been a bit lively. I can feel he's about to go, so I'm going to get him straight back, and hopefully there'll be another fish to come. Good morning, just the one last night, that 23, and whenever I put that one back, I got the rod straight back out there, another bit of bait over the top, and I was expecting another bite before it got light, but it just didn't happen. Now, when I was in the middle island yesterday, I did see a lot of fish this direction, that's why I made the move, but this morning I'm just not seeing them, and it just feels that little bit quieter. I'm starting to wonder whether I've made the move a little bit too late. Not that I could get in the swim any earlier, but time will tell. We'll find out a little bit more whether they're still here this afternoon. It is to be another warm one today, and they were all over the surface in front of this swim, so hopefully that's the case. They are still there, and if they do, our best chance of a bite today will probably be on a sig, I would imagine, and then we'll get back on the deck tonight. Now, I would say I'd be getting the kettle on for a coffee, but I've ran out of gas. Luckily, my dad's on a little bit of a walk around the lakes at the minute. He's going to stop by the fan and bring a gas bottle down to me, so I'll get the kettle on at some point, have a coffee. Right, it's just gone 8 o'clock and today has definitely been a quiet one. Now, when I was sat in that middle island swim just opposite, I could see quite a lot of fish this direction, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to drop in here. And the second is because it has got form of doing the lake's biggin. Now, for anyone who doesn't know Gaunts, there's a fish in here called the Albert, and it's a definite upper 50 and it quite possibly could be £60. Now, I have redone all 3 rods for tonight. I'm not going to touch them until tomorrow morning. I've put another bit of bait over the top, which is exactly what I've shown you already. A lot of bug, a lot of SLK, a lot of liquids. Now, hook bait wise, I have went in with Evo hook baits, which I don't think I've touched on just yet. Basically what they are is a salt cured hook bait. They come with, you get them in a little pack that comes with a powder and a liquid, and you make yourself a paste wrap hook bait, and they're perfect for this time of year. Good morning. So managed to pick off another fish first thing this morning, and over the last couple of hours I've been getting a lot of liners, so hopefully we'll be able to nick another one. Now, I've got that rod straight back out there already, but this one's gone 23.5. Happy days. I tell you what, this water is actually a lot warmer than what it has been, but then I shouldn't really be surprised with the heat we've had. There we go. One last look. Thank you. Go tell Albert I'm looking for him. Right, I've just put that fish back and I'm having the first coffee off the morning, and I'm buzzing just to nick another bite. Now, I know he wasn't one of the Gaunts Lakes giants I was hoping for, but at 23.5 I shouldn't really complain. But I was a little bit surprised it took till first light this morning to nick a bite, because it must have been, I reckon, around 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I started to get a lot of liners and it was in all 3 rods. But say, first light this morning, off that middle rod went. Now, I have redone that rod, it is back out there. I haven't put any bait over the spot just yet because I'm still getting liners and I don't want to push them out. So I'm going to give it another hour or so before I consider putting any bait out, because there's a chance we could nick another one. Well, I was just sat down, well, I was about to sit down, just put the kettle on to have that first coffee after putting that last fish back. I redone the rod, got straight back out there, and I was getting a lot of liners. And sure enough, must have been, reckon, 20 minutes ago we put that one back and the middle rod's gone again. Now, yesterday when I was sat here, I definitely thought that the fish had pushed out because we had a little bit of a wind that came on and it was hacking down the opposite end of the lake, and those fish, it was picked up this other rod. The fish definitely got on that wind and pushed down, but at some point last night they've obviously pushed back this way. I think this has went over that rod, hasn't it? Let me sort this out. I don't think he's that far out now. He's definitely picked up that other line, which is annoying. Fuck's sake. Well, how about that for a Gaunt Slate carp with 25.7. Did cause me a little bit of trouble picking up those other two rods, but we managed to get that sorted. Rods are back out there, still getting liners, so there could be another one on the cards very soon. But for now, I'm going to get a couple of photos of this one and get her straight back. Right, since putting that last one back, the liners have eased, and unfortunately I've run out of time. I've got about an hour left, just need to get everything packed up, get it loaded into the van and make my way back home. Now, it hasn't been too bad a session in the end. I've had 12 fish with 3 30s, 2 31s and a 34, so I'll definitely be going home happy. So all that's left for me to say is thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one.